Hello and welcome to our briefed package for tonight on Ogun State Television. I am Simiat Abaru, our top stars tonight. Muslims across the world celebrate Eid al-Fitr. President Tinubu returns from UK state visit to mark Eid al-Fitr in Lagos. Nigeria, Britain seal deal on port reform, migration orders. Spain to spend 5 billion euros to ease Middle East war fallout. Eid Mubarak. Celebrate with gratitude, feast and family love. Don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at Ogun TV and Ogun State Television, YouTube at OGTV Abeokuta, and on OGTV website www.ogtv.com.ng/live. For the latest news and reports, check us on these platforms: X at Ogun TV, Instagram at Ogun State Television, or download OGTV app on Apple and Google Play stores. Nigeria and the United Kingdom have consolidated a series of landmark agreements and understandings covering migration, border security, trade, infrastructure, and business mobility in a renewed push to deepen bilateral relations and economic cooperation. Central to the engagement were 3 memoranda of understanding and statement of intent on migration partnership, cooperation on organized migration crime and border security, and the expansion of business visas for UK companies working with Nigeria. In addition, both countries sealed a £746 million infrastructure agreement for the modernization of Apapa and Tinkan Island Port in Lagos, alongside broader commitment to expand trade, investment and economic collaboration. The agreement was signed on behalf of Nigeria by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, UK Minister for Small Business and Economic Transformation, Mr. Blair McDougall, signed for the British government. Edun said the deal aligns with Nigeria's priorities on infrastructure, energy and industrial development under the Renewed Hope agenda. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has praised the creativity and resilience of Nigerians during an exhibition of modern Nigerian art in London. Tinubu spoke at the reception held at the Tate Modern as part of activities marking his state visit to the United Kingdom. The president said the exhibition reflected the ability of Nigerians to redefine their identity through art. He also said Nigerian artists had created enduring works through a blend of traditional and modern influences. The president further expressed optimism about the country's economy, stating that Nigeria had moved past economic challenges and was on the path to growth. He urged Nigerians to remain confident and not be discouraged by negative perceptions. The United Kingdom's Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy, who hosted the event, highlighted the strong ties between both countries, noting that trade between Nigeria and the UK had reached £8.1 billion. Lammy also noted the contributions of Nigerians in the UK, particularly in the cultural and economic sectors. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu have arrived in Nigeria after a 2-day state visit to the United Kingdom. Footage shared on X by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Public Communication, Sunday Dare, captured the moment the presidential aircraft touched down, with senior government officials, including Senate President Godswill Akpabio, on hand to receive the presidential couple. The visit, which took place on March 18 and 19, 2026, marked the first formal state visit by a Nigerian leader to the UK in 37 years, the previous one having occurred in 1989. Tinubu and the First Lady departed Abuja and arrived at London's Stansted Airport on Tuesday. King Charles III and Queen Camilla hosted them the following day at Windsor Castle, where they received a ceremonial welcome, including an honor guard and carriage procession. In the meantime, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has called on Nigerians to embrace peace, unity, and collective responsibility as essential pillars for national development, urging citizens to uphold the enduring values of Ramadan and lend beyond the festive season. Speaking with journalists shortly after observing the Eid al-Fitr prayers at the Dodam Barracks Eid ground in Lagos, the president stressed that peaceful coexistence remained the bedrock of progress, noting that security and stability must be a shared national commitment. The president underscored the importance of sustaining the spiritual lessons of the fasting period, particularly charity, kindness, and compassion for the vulnerable, urging Nigerians not to abandon these virtues with the end of Ramadan. He added that citizens must continue to support one another and uphold moral values, stressing that they must continue to be the brother's keepers, keep good behavior, be their neighbor's keeper, and of course love for humanity should define everyday conduct.
Peace and security of the nation is not just one man's responsibility. We all are involved. Information, suspicious information, movements of people across the length and breadth of this country is our responsibility. We must give information. We must respect the rule of law.
President Tinubu further highlighted the shared spiritual foundation across religions in Nigeria, noting that the worship of one God should inspire unity rather than division, despite differences in modes of worship. According to him, the responsibility of nation building is collective and must be anchored on inclusivity, mutual respect, and an appreciation of the country's diversity. In another development, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, was at Ramat Square in Maiduguri, Borno State, to join Muslim faithfuls in serving and observing Eid al-Fitr prayers, marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Shettima was accompanied by Governor Babagana Zulum, Deputy Governor Umar Usman Gaddafo, and the Sheikh of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbai Al-Amin. The delegation also included federal and state lawmakers such as Senator Kaka Shehu Lawan and Ali Ndume, as well as representatives member Usman Zana Abdul Kadiri, Bukar Talba, and Uba Amadu Maigeri, the Minister of State for Regional Development.
My message to all Nigerians is a call for unity. It's a call for us to understand that what binds us together supersedes whatever that divides us. Incidentally, the Ramadan coincided with the Lent season for our Christian brothers and sisters. We believe that the 30 days of fasting that we endured or we observed calls for a deeper reflection, for us to understand that unity and peace of this country is absolutely essential for our development. There can never be peace without development. There can never be development without peace. We should call on all Nigerians to fuse into one and face our common challenges of underdevelopment, insecurity, and destitution.
Away from the national stage, now to Ogun State. Residents of Ogun State have been commended for their prayers and support to the current administration. The appreciation was given by Governor Dapo Abiodun at the Lanturu Prayer Ground in Abeokuta, where Muslims gathered to observe this year's Eid al-Fitr prayers. They were also admonished to continue living in piety, remain devoted to the Almighty Allah, and sustain the good deeds observed during the 30 days of Ramadan. Chief Imam of Egbalan, Sheikh Saadallah Bangbola, led the prayers. Bumi Adigun, who covered the event, reported that the state government also distributed bags of rice to worshippers at the ground.
It is the 2026 Eid al-Fitr celebration observed after the successful completion of the 30-day Ramadan fast by Muslims. As it is customary in the Islamic calendar, Muslim faithful converged on the Lanto Eid prayer ground in Abeokuta to mark the end of Ramadan. The chief imam of Egbaland, Sheikh Sadala Bangbala, led the prayers where he admonished political office holders to provide good leadership and urged followers to remain steadfast in their responsibilities. The governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, who was represented at the prayers by the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Ganiu Amzat, appreciated residents for their continued support, noting that their prayers have been impactful.
All the good deeds it is something that we must continue, and all our acts, all our prayers, Almighty Allah and also ask me to thank every Muslim brothers and sisters that support within the last 7 years, and enjoys them to continue to give him that necessary support so that at the end of the day he will land at the promised land.
Earlier, before the commencement of the prayers, the Ogun State government distributed rice palliatives to Muslim faithful who gathered to observe the prayers as part of its annual support initiative. Bumi Adigun, OGTV News.
Muslim faithful in Ota joined their counterparts globally to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, marking the conclusion of the 30-day Ramadan fast. The Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Engineer Noimo Salakoye, was among the dignitaries observed participating in the prayers and calls for renewed commitment to righteous living. Our reporter, Margaret Okunola, now provides the details.
Muslims across the globe mark the Eid al-Fitr celebrations at designated prayer grounds following the conclusion of the 30-day Ramadan fast. In Ota, faithful gather in large numbers to observe the special Eid prayers. The Grand Chief Imam of Ota Kingdom, Sheikh Al-Imam Musabik Ibrahim Aino Aladi, delivers a sermon titled, "What Next After Ramadan?" He charges the congregation to sustain the spirit of righteousness, discipline, and devotion cultivated during the holy month.
We should all try and abstain from deceitful people, deceitful activities. So we should try and borrow from an institution of Ramadan. And we should not be like dog. Dog will like to vomit and will try and return back to his vomiting. So we Muslims should not be like that.
Notable dignitaries joined the celebration, extending goodwill messages to the Muslim community on this festive occasion.
We are celebrating festival of breaking the fast. Its significance in the Islamic world, in the sense that we reflect on the past, on how we've disciplined ourselves to behave wholly in godly manner, and we don't want to go back.
We maintain peace among ourselves, we maintain peace within the community, we maintain peace within the local government and Nigeria as a whole.
Ogun State Deputy Governor, Engineer Noimo Salako Oyedele, joins the faithful for the prayers. She delivers a message urging continued unity peace and religious tolerance across the state.
I bring greetings from His Excellency Prince Dr. Abiodun, CON, the Governor of the state. His Excellency congratulates all of us on the successful completion of this year's Ramadan. He beseeches Almighty Allah to answer all our prayers and to accept all our acts of ibadah. As we complete this year's Ramadan, we give glory to Almighty Allah for preserving us for another year. May Almighty Allah make it easy for us to adopt everything that they have said, because this will not bring peace and harmony to our land.
The session concluded as the Assembly offers special prayers for individuals, Ogun State and Nigeria, seeking continued peace, progress and prosperity. Margaret Okunlola, OGTV News.
Still ahead, Governor Abiodun appoints new Procurement Bureau Director General. More news and report after the break. Please stay with us. News at 8 on State Television. As the 2026 Ramadan exercise ends, Muslim faithful converged to thank Allah for the grace to see the end of the exercise at the Owu Central Mosque, Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library Prayer Ground and Sadatul Abadiya Prayer Ground. Clerics urged Muslims to sustain positive attitude inculcated during the month. Details are in this package.
Muslim faithful bid farewell to Ramadan 2026 with gratitude and joy at the Owu Central Mosque, where Chief Imam Alhaji Sulaiman Kainde reflects on the values of patience, compassion, and self-discipline instilled during the holy month. The Olowu of Owu, Oba Sakame Temelola, and other guests encouraged Muslims to carry forward the lessons and values learned during this sacred month.
It's just to really continue to behave in the way that will engender love and cooperation amongst ourselves. Now that Ramadan is over, I will appeal to all of us as Muslims, men, women, and children, to uphold the tenets.
All those good attitude that we have imbibed, giving, sharing, loving, being kind and long-suffering. These are the things that we should continue to live by.
At Bayatu Salam, Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Mosque Prayer Ground, the atmosphere was equally of joy, unity and gratitude. Prayer was led by Chief Imam Mahmoud Olajide Ahmed, who emphasizes the value of sacrifice, compassion, and continued devotion beyond Ramadan. He also calls on faithfuls to uphold peace and support the less privileged.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we give thanks to Allah for giving us the opportunity to witness today's Eid al-Fitr, and we pray that Allah in His infinite mercies will continue to protect all Muslims and non-Muslims in Nigeria, and also continue to provide for us.
It is not just a day of celebration. It is a day to remind every one of us that, we can always imbibe the act of generosity in our lives. We can imbibe the act of kindness in our lives. We can always be good to one another.
All what we observe during the Ramadan, we should let it continue. And Ramadan, aside from that, it fortifies us spiritually. It's also good for us health-wise.
Muslim faithful equally gathered at the prayer ground of Sadatul Abadiya, Leme Abeokuta, to observe the prayer. Chief Imam Sheikh Ismail Abdulhakim joins the gathering to continue with the lessons and tenets of Islam showcased during Ramadan.
Muslim brothers and sisters, is that we should keep forth all those things that we have been able to do during Ramadan, keeping ourselves away from all evil things, all bad things, making sure that we also give sadaqah to our neighbors, our families.
The virtues of Ramadan tells us that we should be submissive, we should be prayerful, we should remember God at all times, and we should be ready to give.
Faithfuls at the prayer ground also got bags of rice from the Ogun State government to support their feast for the season.
The Gbagura Muslim community in Abeokuta joined the rest of the world in observing 2 rakat prayers signaling the end of 30-day fast in the holy month of Ramadan. Similarly, faithfuls converged on Ansaruddin Central Mosque in Adedoto to mark the end of Ramadan with prayers, while at Bodiolude, the story was not different, as adherents observed 2 rakat prayers to thank Allah for witnessing the end of Ramadan. Details of the prayers from the 3 Eid prayer grounds are presented in this package.
The chief imam of Gbagura, Professor Kamaldeen Balogun, led 2 rakat prayers with supplication to Almighty Allah for witnessing the end of Ramadan in the Islamic calendar year of 1447.
So when people know what is right, I think people will go back to work. They will get what they deserve, and that is peace. Peaceful coexistence, whether among the religious adherents, we should let them know that people are not following the tenets of their religion anymore.
Professor Balogun reminded the Ummah of the essence of the holy month and therefore enjoined them to remain steadfast in almsgiving, sharing of love and food for the needy. He called for total submission to the tenets of Islam by obeying Allah's commandments in all their undertakings. Meanwhile, Muslim faithful across Nigeria has been advised to uphold the virtues of peace, tolerance and unity cultivated during the holy month of Ramadan as the fasting period comes to an end. This admonition was made by the Mufassir Alhaji Abdulateef Shobowale during the Il-Fitr prayer held at the Sheikh Sugar Mosque in Bodiolude, Abeokuta.
Gbogbo apáta àti di ẹni tó mọ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run nísìnyí àkọ́kọ́ Ramadan wọ́n ní kẹ́yìgẹ́ ní àárín ẹ̀ àforíjì ní ìgbẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ adọ́màdùjọ́ náà nìyẹn. Ìwà táwa wù Ramadan ẹ̀ táwọn adọ́màdùjọ́ náà yìí òun náà ni ká tún máa tẹ̀síwájú ká máa wù lọ ká má ṣe ṣìnà tá a ṣe ní Ramadan ká má ṣe mọ́. Àwẹ̀ wa tá a gbà yẹ àwọn àwẹ̀ tó wà tá a tún máa gbà ní ìsìn àwẹ̀ mẹ́fà sí sátú Shawwal ká gbìyànjú ká gbà yẹ náà Ọlọ́run àgbà nígbàdà fún wa orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ ó bàjẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn wa Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ ó bàjẹ́.
He emphasized the importance of maintaining discipline, self-restraint, and devotion demonstrated throughout Ramadan. Likewise, Muslims faithful were advised to remain united and steadfast to uphold the tenets of their religion even after Ramadan. National President of Ansaruddin Society of Nigeria, Prince Musaddiq Adeniji, represented by Alhaji Ambaliu Ishola, said this in his Il-Fitr message at Ansaruddin Society of Nigeria prayer ground in Adedotun, Abeokuta during the Eid prayer.
This important moment, we call on Muslims to remain united and steadfast. The strength of Muslim community lies in its unity, mutual respect, and collective commitments to peace and justice.
Also speaking, the National Vice President of the Society, Alhaji Jimoh Akoni Pokuola, advised Muslims to keep to whatever principles they held during Ramadan. The chief
Muslim clerics are urging Nigerians to sustain the virtues of discipline, sacrifice and compassion cultivated during the holy months of Ramadan. They emphasized that the end of fasting should mark the beginning of a renewed commitment to peaceful coexistence and national unity. The clerics at Ugiri, Peru and Mulipa also stressed that Eid al-Fitr is not only a celebration but a call to continue living by the values of love, tolerance and generosity, which they say are essential for building a harmonious society.
As Muslim faithful around the world celebrate the end of the holy month of Ramadan, the Eid prayer ground at Ugiri Remo was filled to capacity as the Muslim faithful in the community gathered together to observe the celebration of Eid Fitr. In his sermon, the chief imam of Ugiri Remo, Imam Musibauddin Salako, admonished the gathering to remain steadfast in their faith
and remain holy, as they have done during the time of Ramadan. Also, they should work in synergy to lift the work of Almighty Allah. Likewise, the Muslim faithful gathered together at the Eid ground of the Central Mosque in Ikberu Praying Ground. The Chief Imam of Ikberu, Alhaji Shehu Hora, gave the people word of charge while reminding the Muslim faithful to be compassionate to their other fellows, not only during Ramadan session, but also after Ramadan period, and also be filled with the fear of God. At Peru, the Ogun State government distributed rice to the worshippers, who lauded the kind gesture of government. Meanwhile, Chief Imam of Monipa, Alhaji Abdulganiu Ejalonibu, said in his sermon that Muslims should always give thanks to God. He also said Muslims should continue to do the work they did during Ramadan. The Imam said Nigerians should fear God in all their ways. Across the prayer grounds, it was excitement and blessings on the part of worshippers in Ogeri, Ikberu, and Monipa.
And away from Eid prayers, we move to the presidency, which of course the presidency has addressed claims surrounding a recently signed migration agreement with the United Kingdom, stressing that the deal applies strictly to Nigerians residing illegally in the UK. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Temitope Ajayi, said the clarification became necessary following reports suggesting Nigeria had agreed to accept foreign deportees. In a statement, Ajayi explained that the agreement only concerns Nigerians who lack legal status to live and remain in the UK. He said, for clarity, it is important to state that the agreement signed by the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunjojo, during the state visit of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on behalf of the government of Nigeria and the UK Home Secretary Shanbana Mahmood only relates to Nigerians who do not have legal status to live and remain in the UK. Ajayi added that the agreement guarantees that returnees who are Nigerian citizens will be treated with dignity, retain their right under domestic law, and may re-enter the UK in the future if they meet applicable immigration requirement. The Ministry of Interior, in a separate statement, noted that the arrangement provides a framework for the dignified return and reintegration of Nigerians without legal residency in the UK. According to the ministry, the deal includes the use of secure travel documentation, case-by-case identity verification, and safeguards for the vulnerable individuals, including potential victims of trafficking. The Ogun State government has appointed Mrs. Feyishara Bolarinwa Debowale as the new Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement, taking over from the late Dr. Additional Olanloye. This is contained in a statement signed by the Head of Service, Mr. Kendi Onosoya. According to the Head of Service, the appointment of the new Director General is in line with the extant procurement law as amended, noting that she emerged through a competitive and merit-based process which involved the shortlisting and interviewing of suitably qualified candidates who had successfully completed the executive training, validation and development program within the management cadre of the Ogun State Civil Public Service. She also met the prescribed competencies, skills and knowledge required for the position of Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement. Bolarinwa Debowale, a seasoned lawyer, was born on 22nd May 1978 in Ibadan and joined the civil service as a state counsel in December 2005. She attended Anglican Girls Grammar School, Ijebu-Ode, earned her LLB at Ogun State University, now Olabisi Onabanjo University, and trained at Nigerian Law School, Lagos campus. Before her latest appointment, she served as Deputy Director of Civil Litigation in the Ministry of Justice and was later seconded to the Bureau of Public Procurement as a legal officer. The Head of Service said her elevation to the post of Director General is seen as part of the present administration's drive of the Prince Dapo Abiodun's government to strengthen due process and accountability in public contracting ensuring that procurement policies are imbibed and implemented in line with international best practices and within the consideration of government bureaucratic procedures. 29 years after his passing, the legacy of Adeyemi Josiah Kanu Afolayan continues to echo through the Nigerian film industry and the hearts of those who admired his craft. Popularly known as Adelove, he was a pioneer whose creativity, discipline and passion for storytelling helped shape the early growth of indigenous filmmaking in Nigeria. His works not only entertained audiences but also preserved culture and inspired a new generation of filmmakers. Today on Glimpses, we remember a legend whose influence still lives on through the thriving film industry and through his children and proteges who continue the artistic journey he began. Though he departed in the month of March 1996, the impact of Adeyemi Josiah Kanu Afolayan remains timeless, a reminder that true legends may leave the stage, but their legacy never fades.
Years have slipped into the shadows of time since the curtain fell on one of Africa's most luminous stars. Yet the name Adeyemi Josiah Akanwo Afolayan, the legendary Adelove, continues to echo through the halls of Nigerian cinema. A pioneer of the celluloid era, Afolayan was more than just an actor. He was a visionary who transitioned the traveling theater tradition into the structured world of filmmaking. His departure nearly 3 decades ago left a void in the industry, but his signature style, characterized by romantic themes and cultural depth, laid the foundation for what we today celebrate as Nollywood. To remember Adelove is to revisit the golden age of Nigerian film, where classics like Ija Ominira, Taxi Driver, and Kadara defined the viewing experience of a generation. The legacy of the patriarch, however, is not confined solely to archives and old film reels. It breathes and thrives through his children, Kunle, Gabriel, Aremu, and Moji Afolayan, who have taken the baton and sprinted into the global spotlight by building on the Afolayan brand. They have transformed a family name into a symbol of excellence, ensuring that the creative DNA of the man from Agbamu remains a dominant force in contemporary African storytelling. Every time a new Afolayan production breaks records, it serves as a living tribute to the man who started it all with a camera and dream.
Never really celebrated him. You know, he has given some of us life. Apart from the fact that, you know, he was my father, he also gave me, you know, beyond, you know, more than that. And such person needs, and the feedback has been, you know, those his followers, those who experienced him and his films during his time, the younger generation who don't even have an idea, both within the industry and outside of the industry. Because I remember we were on the plane one day, and I don't know if it's Aki or Popo was asking me who is Adelove, you know, and you know, they don't know, and they don't know. So this is an opportunity for people to actually experience what filmmaking used to.
May his soul continue to rest in peace. Now to business. Nigeria has recorded the sharpest increase in pump price of petrol worldwide, the backdrop of the war in the Middle East. Analysis of global petrol prices has revealed. The breakdown shows that Nigeria recorded a 39.5% increase in pump prices between February 23 and March 16, while South Africa and Mexico recorded the least increase of 1.0% and 0.5% increases respectively. According to the analysis, Chile, Nigeria, which experienced a 32.9% rise during the period, while Australia and Vietnam recorded 31.8% rise each, and the USA recorded a 23.6% increase. Petrol prices increased by 18.7% in Spain, 17.2% in Canada, 14.9% in Germany, 14.3% in Egypt, and 12.3% in France. China recorded a 10% increase, while Ethiopia followed with 7.9%, and United Kingdom and the United Arab Emirates showed similar momentum at 6.5% and 6.4% respectively. Liberia recorded a 4.9% increase, closely followed by Hong Kong at 4.7%. At the lower end of the spectrum, Croatia and Qatar both saw a 2.7% rise, while South Africa recorded a marginal 1.0% increase, and Mexico experienced petrol price change at 0.5%. Several African countries, including South Africa, have approached the Dangote Petroleum Refinery to secure fuel supplies following disruptions linked to the ongoing conflict involving Iran. Bloomberg reports on Friday findings showed that the 650,000 barrels per day refinery owned by Nigerian billionaire Aliko Dangote has received multiple inquiries from government seeking alternative fuel sources. South Africa is reportedly seeking a 12-month supply contract, while countries such as Ghana and Kenya have also reached out to the refinery. The development comes as the Middle East crisis continues to disrupt global fuel supply chains, raising concerns across several regions in Africa. The impact is expected to be more pronounced in eastern and southern regions, where about 75% of refined fuel imports come from the Middle East, according to energy consultancy CTAC. Nigerian energy company Sapphire and Kubako Energy Limited has signed a memorandum of understanding with Nexaca Group Energy and Infrastructure Holdings in London as part of efforts to strengthen energy development and attract global investment into Nigeria's energy sector. The agreement follows the company's recent incorporation in the United Kingdom, marking a strategic expansion aimed at enhancing its access to international capital and technical expertise. In a statement issued in Uyo, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, said the dual milestone underscores the firm's commitment to leveraging global partnerships to address Nigeria's energy challenges and drive sustainable. He explained that the company's entry into the UK market is designed to unlock new growth opportunities and deepen its capacity to deliver impactful energy solutions in Nigeria. According to Asuko, the MOU signed at Sir Simon Milton Square in London is expected to facilitate funding for mid-scale infrastructure projects, with potential investment running into several $100 million subject to project development phases. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has said Nigerians will soon begin to enjoy improved electricity supply as the federal government moves to resolve ongoing gas constraints affecting generation. Adelabu made this known in his Eid al-Fitr message, where he noted that recent interventions by the government are beginning to address persistent gas supply challenges that have limited power generation across the country. According to him, the government is implementing concrete measures to ensure a reliable supply for homes and businesses. Gas suppliers have halted supply to a thermal power plant over an estimated 3.3 trillion naira debt ought by power generation companies, a development that had deepened the nationwide power shortage. The Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Power Generation Companies, Dr. Joy Ogaji, discussed this, warning that the mounting debt across the power value chain is pushing the sector toward a major crisis. On the foreign scene, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has announced a sweeping package worth 5 billion euros aimed at cushioning the economic impact of the Middle East war, including a drastic reduction in energy-related taxes. Meanwhile, Venezuela's interim leader, Delcy Rodriguez, has replaced her country's senior military commanders one day after appointing a new defense minister. Let's join Daminario Keji for details on the foreign scene.
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced Friday a sweeping package worth 5 billion euros aimed at cushioning the economic impact of the Middle East war, including a drastic reduction in energy-related taxes. Speaking after an emergency cabinet meeting, the socialist leader said the 88-measure package was necessary to shield households and key sectors from surging costs. The package, set to take effect Saturday following publication in the official Gazette, includes cuts to value-added tax on gas and fuel, expected to reduce pump prices by as much as 30 euro cents per litre, or roughly 20 euro per tank for the average car. The government will also slash electricity taxes by 60%, suspend a production tax, and reduce the value-added tax on electricity